In today's show, it's a mock draft. It's pick 8. It's a head-to-head 9-category league. It's the 8th one of these we're doing. We're doing a series of them. There was a points league one yesterday. There was a points league must draft. There was a points league bust. There was a points league sleeper video for all of you who are asking. And there will be another points league mock draft coming. And there will be a points league do not draft coming tomorrow. So all that's out of the way. I'm sure people will still ask. But anyway, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and at Yahoo Sports Australia. And you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds and lines than ever before. BetOnline is where the game starts. Thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and we are available on all platforms. It's another mock draft. It is Sunday here, so there's only going to be the one show coming today, but we'll spank out a bunch more stuff in the coming week. So much happening. And just a quick reminder, we did this last year, but Thursday, this coming week, which is, I don't know the date, like the 15th or something, 14th, 13th maybe, there is a massive, it's like a telethon. We called it an Ask Us Anything last season. It's me, and it's a bunch of fantasy analysts and hosts from the Locked On Network. They're coming on. We're going for 4 hours live on YouTube, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern on Thursday through to 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. And we're just answering your questions. You throw the questions in the chat and we answer them. We had so many people watch that last season. It was a huge success. And we're doing it again. We're going to have Dan Titus, Adam Stock, Dan Besbris, Jared Johnson, Alex Burns, Adam Armbrecht from Locked On Nets, Cyrus Satsaz from Locked On Warriors, Evan Damrell from Locked On Cavs, Matt George from Locked On Kings, so questions about those teams. Mitch Case is going to be on, Zach Hanshew's going to be on, Alex Raclean's going to be on, Adam King's going to be on. There might be some others that jump on as well, but we're going to be answering your fantasy questions or team rotation specific questions throughout that show. On Thursday, the 13th at 4 p.m. Eastern live on YouTube. There will be a landing page that goes up for that really, really soon. But we've got a mock draft here to do today. We'll get into that in just a second. Before I get into that, I got to tell you that betonline.net is your number one source for all of your football betting info this season. Find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news and podcasts, and in-depth articles and analysis on every game you can find. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sports wagering information with live betting and up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. NFL Week 5 is tomorrow. And if you want to have a look, the Cowboys are actually 5.5-point underdogs against Matt Stafford and the Rams. Can Cooper Rush get it done? We will find out, won't we? So head over to BetOnline and check that out. All the up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there. It's the fastest and easiest way also to check in on all of your favorite games and events, including Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, and golf. So head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline is where the game starts. I could have really referenced something that would have blown your mind there. You could have checked in on the Major League Baseball playoffs to see how my Toronto Blue Jays are going after we lost Game 1. Yes, I am a Toronto Blue Jays fan. And yes, despite my alleged hatred of Canada. All right, we are getting ready for this mock draft to start. So, Warnie.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right, we are here. Everyone's ready to go in the draft. Let's unpause it and start. I am going to be taking James Harden with pick 8. I would take Harden higher than that, but going by current ADPs, that's where he sits. So, of course, at number 1. At number 2.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What an absolute stock standard start, and that's fine. And then number 3 is Luka. This is how nearly every draft goes. Again, I would probably not take Luka there, but I get it. Getting those big strengths is important. We have Embiid at 4, so that means we're going to get Durant at 5 here. It'll be interesting to see what Teletubbies does. Like, this is where Harden should go, but I've told them to leave him for me at 8. So what do they do there? In which direction? Which, yeah, is probably a little bit annoying for them, but I'm trying to make videos with these first-round picks in them. So they've got to suffer and adjust. What is Tally? Is he going to take Tatum? I think he takes Tatum, and then I reckon Steph goes next. Durant went at 5. to Abel De La Rosa. There you go. Tatum at 6. I reckon someone takes Steph here, and then I'll leave me Jimmy Harden for pick 8. No, Lillard at 7. I don't mind it. I actually am pretty okay with that. And as I've said multiple times, and I will continue to say this, is that don't overstress on your first round pick too much. Like, it's not what makes you draft. It's not what kills you draft. Like, I wouldn't take Steph at 6, but if you do, it's okay. Like, it's totally fine. I wouldn't take Towns at 5, but if you do, it's okay. It's not going to kill what you do. If you take Mo Bamba at 50, then yeah, your draft's ruined, right? That's where, and you know, the overall over-focus, and we put 70% of our time into who do I pick first and second, when it probably accounts for 15% of the actual outcome of a draft or a league. After Harden is 8, Ball is 9, Towns is 10. And then we get into this really interesting part of the draft where Trey's available, Steph's available, Halliburton's available. So I really like 11 and 12, especially 12. You get 2 really strong options. At 11, you might be, you know, maybe you don't feel like LeBron's a first-round guy, which I get that given some of the injury history over the last 3-4 years. But like here, D-Will here at 12 taken Trey and LeBron. He could have taken Trey and Steph there really easily. And you don't really see Steph Curry fall into the second round very often, do you? And there he goes at number 14. Kyrie at 15, who is becoming very much a favorite at 15. I like it at 15, and he seems to be going at 15 in a lot of different drafts. And I need to stop talking because it is, in fact, my pick that is coming up right now. So I should look into that, shouldn't I? It is my pick. So what will I do here? We had Booker go off at 16, and this is where we get into dangerous territory with injured players. I'm going to take Paul George. Paul George is not currently injured. People, sometimes memories of last season get clouded, and people look and go, well, the Clippers didn't make the playoffs. It's because Paul George was hurt. He had COVID, right? He did get injured, but he came back, and he got COVID. That's why he didn't play in the play-in games, not because he was hurt. And is that a big difference? I think it does change people's calculus. I also heard someone on some podcast the other day, Paul George put up really good numbers in the playoffs. Like, okay. And that's not to shit on that person because I actually don't remember who it was. It's more just like sometimes our memories, and it happens to me a lot as well, it gets skewed. The Mandela effect, not quite the same thing, but this happens. Anyway, Paul George is who I took at 17, Siakam at 18, DeJounte Murray at 19. Just news on Jalen Suggs. Yeah, not great. I will probably draft him last round now and stash him in IR if I haven't got any other IR guys. It boosts Cole Anthony a lot. Why does it boost Cole Anthony? Because 3 of the Magic's top 4 guards are now out. Fultz, Suggs, and Harris are all out to begin the season. So Anthony is going to get way more shots and way more minutes. RJ Hampton gets a deeper league boost. I don't like him long term, but he does get a boost there. Siakam goes at 18, DeJounte at 19, Kawhi at 20. Haven't really seen Kawhi go at 20 in many drafts recently. But I think it's pretty good. Anthony Davis goes at 21. What other things have happened in the preseason? I think Zion looks pretty good. The free throws were putrid yesterday. I think that, once again, Marvin Bagley looks terrible. No one should be shocked there in Detroit. Detroit actually looked terrible as a whole. And Sadiq Bey, you know that I am a certified Sadiq Bey hater. And that's not true, but I just don't think he's as good as others do. I think he's looked putrid as well in the preseason. Maybe that is some bias coming out because I just don't really think much of him as a prospect, but he's trying to do too much and he can't do any of it. He needs to look at the man next to him, Bojan Bogdanovic, and say, I actually can do less than this guy, so maybe I just need to settle down with what I'm trying to do. Maybe that's being, because I watched a lot of Pelicans Pistons yesterday. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on him, but yeah, he's rough. Sabonis goes at 22, after Davis at 21, then Bam goes at 23. And then we've got Cade Cunningham at 24. Cade and Jokic pairing is pretty nice. I think you should be pretty happy with that combo. Cade has been a little bit off in the preseason as well. Big game from yesterday from Ben Mathurin for the Pacers too, just talking about some young players. He had 42 usage off the bench, which of course, when we're looking at what's happened in that game, like we know that's not going to stick. I still have my worries about him being a points-only guy with bad efficiency, but in a points league especially, you take a crack there. I have not seen this bloke, Anthony Edwards, fall into the third round in a while. But he goes at 25. Look at that start. Jokic, Cunningham, Edwards, taking 2 big step-up guys in Cunningham and Edwards because you've got the safety there of Jokic. Now, I have had, and I actually didn't think this would happen, but I have had it. People have asked me, man, should I not take Jokic at number 1 now? Like, he's got this wrist MRI and information's cloudy. Like, as I will constantly... let's talk about Jokic a second. Raphael did a perfect thing there. He took Giannis, and then he took Bam, and then got Gobert in round 3. That is pretty good. Porzingis goes next. But as I will constantly say, like, Jokic at some point is going to get hurt. That does not mean you don't take him at number 1, but nobody is immune to injuries. And Jokic currently has a wrist thing. It might not cost him any time. Probably doesn't. And it does not change your pick at number 1. But if your only reason for taking someone at number 1, and that's not the case with Jokic, but if your only reason for taking someone at a certain spot is because they did not get hurt in the past 2 years, I think it's a foolish way of approaching that. And I'm going to do a whole draft based on that. These are the alleged safe players, and we'll see how that pans out. But anyone can get hurt at any point. Porzingis at 27, look, he can easily get that. He does have those chronic knee problems, so there is inherent risk in drafting him. I wouldn't have done it there. Very interesting to see Darius Garland go. At 28, Butler goes at 29. I need to start focusing in on what I'm going to do. We're 3 picks away. Freddie Van Vliet would be a great... Oh, well, there he goes, of course. At number 30, do I take Chris Paul? That's a Harden, George Paul, man. That's an old team. Do I take Don Mitchell, Brad Beal? Well, Chris Paul's gone, so I can't take him. Do I take Don Mitchell? Do I just take... Let's just take Ja Morant. I know he has some deficiencies, but I want his assist. I want his scoring. And I don't think he's a second-round player, but I'm okay with him in the 3rd round. And obviously, I do not care about turnovers, especially when I'm drafting James Harden round 1. And that's one of Morant's detractions, where people are like, in 9 cat, his turnovers are so high. But when I've got Harden, I don't care. I don't care. All right, so I'm happy with that start. Harden, George. It's so annoying to see Paul George, a 6'11" man who is a power forward listed as a shooting guard. I'm going to slow him at power forward just to piss him off because I know he hates playing there. Ja Morant at 32, Brad Beal at 33. Okay. Miles Turner at 34. Miles Turner loses value if he moves from Indiana, but not that much, I don't think. I don't think it's a huge, huge drop. Just by the way, I know they didn't sponsor today's show. Look at that. Built Bar wrapper. Had Built Bar for breakfast. What else is going on? If you're in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, I posted a little rules explainer video today. The link of that is on the homepage of the league with a link across to YouTube to watch that video. So hopefully you guys have a look at that and see if it explains it. If it doesn't, you can drop comments on the video, or you can, of course, email me or get back to me somehow. Turner 34, Don Mitchell 35, Zion 36. Like that, yeah, look, I really like that, Zion, especially. Like, I don't know how I feel about the Trae Young and LeBron pairing for the free throw percentage, and then adding Zion, and then adding Fox. So you've got Trae Young, who one of his biggest strengths is free throws, and then you draft 3 guys to take all that value away. So when I talk about, I don't focus too much on second round pairings. When the player's value, like Trae Young, is assists and really free throw percentage, there's his 2 biggest things, and then you annihilate one of those values straight off, it's not the greatest pairing. And that's what I mean. Normally, you just like, what's the best pairing? Doesn't really exist. You just want to avoid the bad ones. And I reckon that might be teetering on the bad ones. After Zion, but I like those other guys at those spots. I like them in general. Mitchell at 35, Zion 36, De'Aaron Fox goes at 37. I'm seeing Fox climb up draft boards recently. Then we go to Vucevic.
It's Big Vucevic.
I reckon this is the second mock in a row where 3 Bulls players have gone in a row. Vooch at 38, DeRozan 39, and then the skater boy, Zach LaVine, goes at number 40. Oh, it's my pick. I better hurry up. Jesus. All right, what are we doing? Middleton. That's what happens when you're too busy hosting a show to focus on what you're doing. All right, but I'm okay with Middleton there. He'll be back relatively soon. He gives me some nice strength across the board. The other guy I could have taken there is Drew or Terry Rozier. They're the other guys that I would have considered. And I don't think they're going to get back to me. I hope Rozier does. Or Bain could have worked for me. But Middleton's just a nice, safe guy. Gives me a bit of forward eligibility for a guard-heavy build. So that's what I went with. Scott Barnes at 42, but I need to pay more attention to when my pick's on the clock instead of rattling off nonsense about Bulls getting picked in a row and dropping sounds. But it's a mock draft, that's fine. I I am going to do a show with ADPs for the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl as well, so you can see how these 30 leagues, points and categories, 30 of each, how they've drafted versus casuals and mock drafts on Yahoo and ESPN, and see what sort of an idea that gives you. 42 for Barnes, 43 for Shea, 44 for Drew. That's really good value for Drew. I'm surprised that Mobley and Jalen haven't gone off the board here. They're normally guys that go a bit early, and Jarrett Allen. So you see, in this second, third, fourth round area, there can be quite a bit of variation where, like, Butler might go here, where he went in that start of the third, or he might go in the middle of the fourth, and Beal might go at pick 25, or never really, 30, or he might go at 40. And Middleton and Drew and all these guys change. And Jalen might go at the end of the third, and he was gone at the end of the fourth. And that's why, like, if you take Jalen end of third, I don't love it, but I go, it's not really a reach because
JB, you've done it again.
He could have value there. But yeah, these guys tend to be a little bit squished in, about 20, 25 blokes, sort of squished in together. After Brown at 45, we went with Des Bane at 46, but that's pretty strong value for those guys. Bane, again, I'm a little worried, but his usage has been solid in the preseason, so we have some faith there. But of course, it's not regular season where Morant's playing 34 and Brooks is playing 30. There will be a boost to Bane early in the year with Jaren out as well. Look, there's a lot of misinformation that goes out there with players all the time. Maybe a bit early for CJ, but it does fit that guy's build. He went at 47, Rozier at 48. Like someone said, man, why would you draft Jaren Jackson? I heard he's out until the playoffs. What? That's not true. But it just goes to show how things can snowball or change. Like Jaren might be back in November. He might be back after Christmas, but he might be back in November. And under no circumstances anybody ruled him out for the playoffs or until the playoffs. That has just not happened. But some people believe that. So try to just throw, you might have heard this a million times about me saying Jaren might be back in November. But there's obviously others who haven't, who then will comment on videos and go, why would you pick him at pick 100 when he's out until the playoffs? Ayton at 49, Ben Simmons at 50. Simmons' ADP, which is in the 80s, is flying up. He's going in this range, round 4 or early round 5, all the time now. So if you want to get Ben Simmons, and it's got to really fit a build, and he fits a build there with Giannis and Gobert pretty well. Like, if you want to get him, it's got to be round 5 because he does fit certain builds well. Ingram is going in round 5 in basically every draft that I'm in, and he just went there at number 50. I am shocked to see Jarrett Allen on the board. Like, shocked. He just does not last this long usually. There's always one that slides, though. You never know who it's going to be, but there's always one. And this time it is Jarrett and Mobley. Why are they both still here? That's wild to me. They go in round 3 in a lot of drafts. I don't know why they're falling down this far. Well, there they just go both in a row. Mobley and then Allen. And we're getting up to my pick. So what am I going to do? I want some rebounds. I'm just going to do the thing that I always do. You know what it is. It's take Larry Markkinen. No, I'm not. Okay. Or do I just really lean? Nah, let's get some rebounds. But where? Who? Valanciunas? I don't really like Valanciunas this season. Yeah, I'm going to... Josh Giddey goes at 54. I'm going to do something that I think he's getting priced out and maybe it's too high for him. But I'm just going to throw the delicate dancer in here. I might just draft Şengün just for the fact that I do like him. And it's not something that I would usually recommend doing in round 5. I'm going to try it. I'm going to put some faith in my projection of him and grab him there. I would prefer like a Jakob Poeltl. Well, I can't take him now because he just went. That's one of the biggest L's that I've taken recently. Let's just do the thing. Oh, no. Let's not do that thing. Time is running down. I'm going to take Jalen Green. Get some scoring boost onto my team. All right. So that screwed me up a bit there. I was looking, do I take Jabari Smith? The ankle injury. Not that I'm massively worried about that. Do I take Poeltl? Well, I don't want to deal with his free throws. So I've just gone small again. And we need to get rebounds in that next round. And then we will get a Lowry or a Smith. Well, there goes Brunson. He was another option for me. And by Lowry, I mean Markkinen, not Kyle Lowry. Sorry. Should have clarified that for you listening audio-wise. Oh, I said Markkinen before. You should know that. It's annoying because we've got two bigs, Rob Williams and Jaren Jackson, who would really help to pad this draft out, who are both injured and might miss 30 plus here. The other guy I'm going to want to get is PJ Washington Jr. Mark Williams showed a little bit for the Hornets yesterday. Still not convinced there's a big enough role, and he's definitely more stashable. Devin Vassell goes at 58. Much like Şengün, he's that guy that I like, but I'm getting really worried that this value in round 5 that I'm not, even though I was maybe going to take Şengün, I'm being really cautious about both Şengün and Vassell in round 5. Like, I'm being really cautious, and I think they might have priced out. I think they've priced out. They're definitely at a spot where I look at them and go, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Whereas if they were sitting in round 7, I would snap them up every time. But in round 5, Vassell was actually at the top of my projections when I took Jalen Green, but I went, I'm not sure about that. And I think it might be taking value away. So I didn't take him there. Just for the people who are going to come back later on, you told me Devin Vassell in round 5. Anunoby goes at 61 after Pirtle at 60, and then Mikal Bridges at 62. Is Mikal Bridges now, I think it's marketing for that, is Bridges now like the most boring player in fantasy? Is great. I love him, but it's like the new Tobias Harris, but obviously better. But from a fantasy perspective, is he actually better? Other news actually coming today from Dallas is that they might put Spencer Dinwiddie in a bench role because they have 2 players who can dribble. Does that mean they will start Christian Wood? That's my pick here. I'm going to take, speaking of the Woodsman, I'm going to take him. Let's take Woody. Does that mean they start Wood? Does it mean they start Hardaway? Does it mean they start Jaden Hardy? Because that's who they started in the preseason game. Hardy then becomes, he's definitely a 14-team league intriguing player. That's about all I'll say with him. I don't think he's a 12-team guy yet, but we don't know if they're going to move Dinwiddie to the bench, who they will start. I would guess it's Hardaway. I don't think it'd be Wood, but it could be. And then you go Bullock, Finney-Smith, Wood, McGee, but I don't like Wood at the 4. Don't know if Kidd does either. 66 for Valanciunas, 67 for Wendell Carter. Okay, it's pretty good. The Magic, those injuries, man. How do you have 3 of your top 4 guards out already before the season starts? And there goes the Mustang, Keldon Johnson.
Whose horse is that?
Then Maga Porter goes at 69. And Johnny Collins sliding a bit here. Banchero usually has gone by now as well. The headmaster, I think I would have actually probably taken him where I took Wood, Jamal Murray, but for the thigh soreness yesterday, which after ACL injuries, a lot of times what people do, and maybe I'm not up to date on current medical treatments, but with ACL surgeries, a lot of what they do, they take a little bit of a hamstring tendon a lot of the time and graft that into the knee, which then would make, in the return from an ACL injury, your hamstring a little bit more prone to ping. And as soon as he went off with that hamstring in the same injury, in the same leg as the ACL, I went, oh, all right, I've seen this happen so many times, and that is the worry. There goes Jabari Smith at number 70. That's pretty good.
Smitty.
Cousin Kevin Porter goes at 71, Jamal Murray at 72, and the Baptist at 73. Really like the Murray-Collins value there to Lemon Pepper Lou on the turn. That's really strong. He's had a really good draft so far. I think he should be pretty happy with what he's done. Pick 8, I reckon, is almost the worst. I hate pick 8 in this draft. Now, I did take Harden here, who I do like a little bit earlier, but man, I just don't like this spot in the draft in general, especially if Harden doesn't get to you. D'Angelo Russell at 74. Okay, so what's my big man slots like? I still need a forward of some description. I've got Wood as a center, because I am still leaning small ball here. After D'Angelo Russell goes Klay Thompson. I am so fading Klay at the moment. Gaz Trent at 76. Steel Specialist at 76. Probably a bit early for me. Tyrese Maxey at 77. Really surprised to see him fall that far. What else can I get here? I think it's Washington for me. Nurkic is the other one that's around. But I'm really big on PJ, and he's more of a small ball big man than a big ball big man. Big ball? That doesn't sound right, does it? Tall ball? What the hell is the opposite of small ball? Scotty Barnes for MVP. Wow, G League MVP. That is a good award for Barnes, actually. He's probably got a shot at that. Let's see who this guy drafts here at pick 79, because Jordan Poole went at 78. I think Draymond's going to get suspended. I don't know. I reckon he might, but I think it'll be very small. But we'll find out. He apologized today, of course, Draymond. I still need a forward-eligible player. And that will be PJ for me if I get him. Well, there goes Tyler Hero, so I am going to get PJ. Or do I take Nurkic? Now I'm second guessing myself. Or, no, Paolo's there. Screw this shit. We're just taking Paolo. What? Why is Paolo Banchero still there at 80? Huh. Interesting. Nurkic still there. PJ Washington's still there. Jalen Smith's still there. Fouled out in 20 minutes yesterday. Shout out to Marvin Bagley, who fouled out in 18. Banchero at 80. That is value I'm happy with. Wow. Toby Harris at 81. That is, I don't really like Toby Harris this season. Everyone knows that. Doesn't mean you can't like him, though. What else are we doing here? We have Nurk, Capella, Murray, Sexton. There's a lot of guys here. There goes Nurk at 82. Could I get PJ on the way back around? That would be very nice for my team, I think. I don't think he's going to make it back to me. He's not at the top of this queue, though, so that's useful. Well, there goes Keegan at 83. I don't think it's going to take long for Keegan to overtake KZ Okpala, but you never know. Capella at 84. All right, here's a question. If you are watching this video and we are 26 minutes in, do you think that Onyeka Okongwu will be starting for the Atlanta Hawks, barring injury, by January? Drop that in the comments below. I'll put an actual lead question in for that, but I hope I remember to do it. Do you think Okongwu will start over Capella? Capella at 84, Marcus Smart 85, Colin Sexton 86, Jalen Smith sticks.
Stand by your man.
So he goes at 87, and now we are getting back to me. Do I get the PJ Washington that I'm looking for? Just give me a little bit of forward flexibility, then we can go hard on guards. That's what she said. Later on. Oh, you bastard! No way. Ah, no. All right, so, yeah, that's actually annoying. So who do I take here? Because I do need a big man, and there are not many of them here that I like. Oh, no. Horford. Oh, God, I hate that pick. Time was running down. Washington rooted me. Bud Hield's going to my queue as well. Just needed a little bit of big man stability there, but holy crap, that is annoying. Kyle Lowry goes at number 90.
Double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon.
By the way, those of you living in Melbourne, I know I've tweeted about this many, many times in the past, but man, I need to be able to get a Chicago deep dish pizza, and there's nowhere here in Melbourne. There is. I found a place last night, new place that's opened up. It's in Fitzroy. It's called Deep End Pizza. They have Chicago deep dish pizzas. They do New York pizzas, and they do Detroit-style pizzas. We had one of each last night. Banging. Like, really, really good. Deep End Pizza. Free plug for those guys. If you're in Melbourne, get down to Deep End if you want a Chicago deep dish. Lowry at 90. Draymond Green at 91. Trey Jones at 92. Yeah. Is Jones moving into the Vassell area of maybe getting priced out? Hello, Dizzy. Got another dog come to visit me. Andy Wiggins at 93. That was an auto draft as his timer runs out. Okay. Gordon Hayward, he's a guy that I always tend to get. Oh, he just went at 94. I'm going to throw Brogdon into my queue. Jeremy Grant at 95. Okay. Isaiah Jackson is the other guy that he doesn't make sense on my team punting blocks, but there's a lot of value in him there. Dizzy, where'd you go? And dog's just walking in and out of the room here. All right. Getting ready to finish off round 8. Brogdon's going to be my target, but I do like Bud Hield, who averaged like 5 assists per game for the Pacers last season. Simons goes at 96. Have not been impressed at all with his preseason. Doesn't mean he's going to be bad, but I haven't been impressed with it. All right. Brandon Clark sitting at the top of the queue. Or close to the top. And Bay. Look, I'm out on Bay. I'm out on Westbrook. I'm out on Clark. Barrett is becoming interesting because I do need some scoring. Simons 96. Cam Johnson 97. Okay. And then, where are we? Who else has got? Mitchie Robinson goes at number 98.
Mitch Robinson says, I'll take it from here.
And then we go Jaren at 99. This is a really interesting spot for Jaren. I'm getting around a little bit more to thinking he's back before Christmas. But of course, I don't know. I know that he's not out until the playoffs. And then Alberto Sutton is making his picks. What have you noticed in preseason? Like, what's been the things that stood out to you? What are you feeling about Tari Eason? Like, I really like Tari Eason. I thought he went too low in the draft. I had him at like number 10 in my Dynasty rookie rankings. He's a great last round pick, but also, what are they going to do? Not play Jay Sean Tate or not play Eric Gordon? Where do they fit him in? They should play him, but will the veteran coach do that immediately? It might help Eason early on if Jabari Smith misses time, and he's absolutely a guy that we draft last round. But those 2 preseason games have been amazing. But also, remember Taylor Horton-Tucker's preseason. It's not always a great indicator. Sadiq Bey, I'm not comparing those 2 players, by the way. Sadiq Bey at 100, Heald at 101. Rob Williams, the Rock DJ, goes at 102. Should I play the music? Oh, no. But these people keep sniping me, man. Malcolm Brogdon goes at 103. So what do we do here? Is it Chris Duarte time? No, you know what it is. It's Monty Morris, I think. Another team should be taking Isaiah Jackson around here. It just doesn't make complete sense for my squad. I don't really think anyone's challenging Monty Morris unless they're just big Delon Wright fans in Washington, which I don't really believe that'll be the case. Okay. Kelly Olynyk is going to be an option for me as well. There goes Rowan Barrett at 105. There you go. Look, that queue just gets smashed. Had 3 guys in the queue, and they went 3 out of 4 picks with my one in the middle. And of course, I took someone who wasn't in my queue. Because I was hopeful that one of those guys would slide back around. Josh Hart is going to be a target for me. Guards who rebound. He's the leader there. I'm going to put Hartenstein in the queue while I'm at it. Kuzma goes at 107. It's a really, really competitive and tight draft. Nothing has been outrageous really at all, I don't think. Cole Anthony at 106. That's the Suggs injury factor there, boosting Anthony's value up. Rightfully so. Ivica Zubats goes at 110. Okay, pretty solid spot for Zubats. Olynyk, oh my God. All right, Olynyk gone. Josh Hart is who I'm going to try and get here. If Jakey Dean doesn't take him. Ooh, he took Herbert Jones. All right, let's take Joshy Hart there. Josh Hart was like top 75 last season. I don't expect that, obviously, but just give me a nice little guard rebound booster with some defensive stat ability and some passing ability. I think he makes quite a bit of sense on my squad. As my 10th guy. Of course, I don't even know that he's going to start for Portland. I think he will, but we don't have that confirmed by any stretch. Man, Lemon Pepper Lou got a really strong squad here. That's the number 1 guy, isn't it? Yeah, number 1 pick. Yeah, he's really looking good. And my team not looking particularly good in my projected standings. We've still got 4 picks to make, but I'm not loving how this is a really rough area of the draft. Dort at 115, or Portis at 114, Dort 115, Claxton 116. What do I need to do to boost my team? Some free throws, some steals, some scoring. Ooh, that's hard to do, isn't it? Yeah, I think we've got to throw the man on the street in there. Someone had an issue with me calling Jalen Green a Filipino legend. So should call that to Jordan Clarkson because he actually played for the Philippines. All right, Jordan Clarkson could be a Filipino legend as well, but he's also the man on the street.
JordanClarkson.
Claxton goes at 116. Westbrook goes at 117.
Price of the brick going up.
I don't mind that flyer on Westbrook, to be honest, but you do always have to be cautious with him because if he does play, he can bring you value in a certain few areas and then kill you in other areas. It's got to be the right situation where you don't want to draft a guy, say round 8 or round 9, where the best benefit for your team is him not playing, which sometimes is the case for Westbrook. After Westbrook goes Clark and then Dinwiddie. That might be too early for Dinwiddie in a category league, and B, if he's in a bench role. That might be too early because he's not the greatest category league player. And if his minutes go from 33 to 29 or 30, that's where you start to run into some more problems with him. Vanderbilt bar goes at 120 to finish out round 10. Again, that's just such a massive hit on your overall points because he doesn't score at all, but he's a good rebounds, steals, and field goal percentage player. Suggs and Wall at the top of this queue, I don't think really they should be drafted in anywhere in the next 2 rounds. Someone asked me the other day, why am I so pessimistic on John Wall? Okay, here is why. Injuries, age, Kawhi, Paul George, and the fact that he's probably coming off the bench behind Reggie Jackson. Like, it's not like he's going to be in that second unit and playing 28 minutes and having 30 usage. Like, he might play 20 minutes a night. He might start, he might not, but I don't think the upside is massive there. Oh, Suggs went early. 121 for Suggs with that knee injury. Bojan Bogdanovic, 122. Bones at 123. Walker Kessler at 124. We're getting back to my pick coming up soon. I'm going to look at the man on the street. Where is he? Jordan Clarkson. Throw him into my queue. Brook Lopez goes... It's pretty early for Walker Kessler, round 11. It is one for the future, of course, but yeah, it might be nothing early on. Lopez goes at 125. Then we're 2 away from me. Tari... I'm going to throw Tari Eason into my queue. I wonder how early people go on him. Dylan Brooks at 126. Let's see if this guy takes old mate Jordan Clarkson here. For those of you who are going to ask, no, this is not live streamed. No, these people can't see my queue. This is recorded and then posted later. People always have that question because invariably when I've got guys in my queue, they tend to go off the board. But no one can see that. Jaden McDaniels at 127. Let's take the man on the street. Filipino legend, Jordan Clarkson. And get him to boost a little bit of scoring on my team. My field goals are already bad, so we don't really care too much about that. This is the thing you need to look at. Like I say my field goals are really bad, and they are in comparison to the league. But you know what they project out to at the moment? 46.7%. That's not that bad. But compared to everyone else, that is a bad number. In fact, it's one of the worst field goal percentages in this entire league. I think there's one other team that's got a worse field goal percentage, Jakey Dean, in my projections. 46.7 is not bad. You've got to be at 48. 48 is like minimum to be average in field goal. Barnes goes at 129, the pencil that is. Harrison Barnes. Barnesy. Melton 130, Conley 131, Hartenstein 132. Do I take Eason just as a statement? I don't know if statement's the right word. Like, we'll see what... Again, I think Tari Eason's going to have a better rookie year than Jaden Ivey, for example. But I think it might be rough early on. D Will taking 2 backup centers. Oh, I didn't even know that my man Duarte went. He's taking 2 backup centers, Hartenstein and Okongwu, both with good upside. But I would probably only take one of those on a team rather than you waiting for both of those guys something to take. Oh, I don't even get a chance to take Tari Eason. He goes at 134. The hype is getting real on him. I was considering it. I was probably going to take him. That hype is getting real. Norman Powell goes at 135. What we're getting into the spot of doing here. Precious Achiuwa goes at 136. I don't have... I've got Middleton injured. Ooh, I was going to say I'll take Fultz. I think we do it anyway. Who else could I take here? God, this is a yuck part. All right, let's just sit him there. And we'll see. Like, he could be back in the first week or 2 of the season. Which, with the injury to Suggs now, means I think we see Anthony and Fultz play quite a bit together. So a little bit of... Fultz had great value. It dropped with the injury. Now Suggs is injured and Fultz's value rises back up. And I think Steve Adams for me is going to... I know that he doesn't make tons of sense with my squad, but... Oh, Aldama. Wow, that's early. But, yeah, we like him. Adams, just to give me a boost in rebounds, my free throws can probably take him because... Or can they actually? Oh, they probably can't. Oh, that's annoying. Maybe we take McGee for rebounds then. And we go the full Dallas centers stack. Bogdanovic at 139. Adams at 1-4. I can't take Adams. I can't type this answer in, but Booker says, what are my thoughts on the injury to Suggs? Does it change his vote? Yeah, it does. Like, I'm not drafting him unless it's last round now. It means he's going to be behind the 8 ball coming back in. I don't know how long he's going to be out. It's not season ending, obviously, but it might be 6 weeks, 2 months. Yeah, knee injury with a capsule joint sprain, which is what Isaac first suffered with his knee. You would think it's at least a month, if not more. It's probably almost definitely more. Jaden Ivey at 142. I am not fantasy enamored with Ivy in category leagues. In points leagues, I get it. I think he's going to be, outside top 200 fantasy stuff for the beginning of the season, much like I think Mathurin will be. And then they might start to put it together. But, watch for many 38% shooting nights, where he scores 14, 2, and 3 on 38% shooting. Expect a lot of that, I think. Patrick Beverley's at 143. The Lakers guard situation remains a jumbled mess. Caruso's at 144. And I think we saw yesterday in that Bulls game in the preseason, again, part of my concern with these Bulls guards is that, Kobe White went off, right? So you got White, Dragic, Caruso, Dosunmu. Who's going to be able to establish themselves with 33 minutes a night with strong usage? I don't think anybody necessarily is. And that means that, your Caruso ad or your Dosunmu ad probably just gets muted and they just turn into sort of players. Lonzo Ball goes at one side. Lemon Pepper goes Caruso and Ball. Okay. And he's got Suggs. Okay. Some value there. Maybe. Yeah, I don't mind that, actually. I do want to grab McGee for my team. Patrick Williams benched by the Bulls, by the way. Who knows if he's going to remain same. But maybe he just sucks. That's possible. We see these guys in college who are good defenders or allegedly good defenders who have got the size and go, maybe they're the next Kawhi. But in essence, most of the time, they're the next Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Sometimes they're Kawhi. Kawhi was Kawhi. But Patrick Williams is nothing. Isaac Okoro is nothing. Sometimes these guys can't figure it out. And Williams' upside is not that high, and he's really been quite bad. And if he's getting in a situation where Javonte Green is starting over him, that is not a good moment. I was never massively high on Williams as a draft prospect, and the injury ruined him last season, of course. Talking about, at least he hasn't even been drafted yet, but he's at the top of this queue. I don't know. I'm not massively high on him, and the fact that he has been seemingly demoted is not great. Who makes sense on my team now? Rebounds. I need McGee. Can we get JaVale? Get 6 or 7 boards on my team? Caleb Martin goes. I know a lot of people are getting excited about this guy. Jamal Cain in Miami. 2 really big games in a row. Jovic actually played well. And there's obviously a huge opportunity at forward. There's Caleb Martin, there's Jovic, there's Highsmith, there's Cain now as well. There's Yurtseven, who seems to have dropped a little bit of momentum. Cain looked great. And the Heat do this. So if you're in a 16-team league, I think you look at Cain. Hey, you're going to be surprised to know this, but on ESPN, Jamal Cain's not a player that's available to add. Who would have guessed? But he is here, of course, on Fantrax. Kevon Looney goes at 150. I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just using this to highlight the name Jamal Cain because people have asked about him and he has played well in the last 2 games, but those games have featured basically nobody. So that is worth noting too. Mathurin goes at 151. Let's take JaVale. Giving me a little bit of a rebound boost to my squad. And I've got some buffer for some of his other deficiencies. All right. Oubre goes at 153. Then we're coming back for my last pick. What are we going to do with that one? Poku, maybe. Let's throw Poku in there. I wonder if the Bronco Jalen Williams gets drafted. He's a pretty interesting player. It's getting... Or do I look at Trey Mann? It looks like Shea will actually be back very quickly, but we don't know that. Reggie Jackson, 154. Mo Bamba, 155. That's good value on Bamba. I don't love him as a top 100 guy, but in round 13, sure, take a fly. He might block 2 shots in 18 minutes. The upside I don't think is there without injury. Pokuševski goes at 157. Aldama and Eason are really 2 popular last-round picks. They're gone. They're not available anymore. So what do we do? Kendrick Nunn is another guy. Oh, Derek White, who had a really big game yesterday. Obviously, a lot of players out, but he was great. White goes at 158. That gives me a chance to do this.
Maximum Derek.
Trey Murphy, 159. It is my pick next. We are going upside here. I think I want to take Jalen Williams. That's who I'm going to take. Isaiah Roby goes at 160. He could get some minutes early on ahead of Sohan. Let's take the Bronco. Take a flyer on Jalen Williams there. Yeah, don't know really if anything big will come of that, but I think there is obviously upside in him in Oklahoma City. And we're going to wrap this up really soon. Not many picks left. Tom Bryan at 162. Put up a big game the other day, but again, look, does Turner arrive? Him and Jones battling for minutes. Winion Gabriel's looked good. Could be just one of those things where he puts up big numbers occasionally, but it's just too squished in terms of minutes to really blow up. But again, we're in round 14. Who cares? The tank could work out. I think he's the best fit next to Davis, but they were going with Jones early on. Kevin Love goes at 163. I don't know about that. Like, maybe... look, this is something, and I don't mention this enough, and I have in the past, and I should mention it again now. Your last round pick, you can use it for flyers, but you can also use it as a week 1 waiver ad. Like, who has a good schedule in week 1? Who's going to get increased opportunity in week 1? Pat Connaughton in Milwaukee. Kevin Love, because Evan Mobley might be out. He might be starting and give you great value in week 1. So while the overall long-term upside of that Kevin Love pick is probably limited, in week 1, if Mobley is out, that could be great. And that's another thing you can do with your last round pick. Malik Beasley goes at 164. Okay. So my team, again, pretty strong here in assists. Good points, good threes, good free throws, solid steals, but bad in blocks, okay rebounds. We average about 6 rebounds, and bad turnovers. So we're an okay team. We're sort of in the middle of the pack in the projections. Malik Monk at Aaron Gordon goes at 165. Malik Monk at 166. I wouldn't bother with him. Back up to Kevin Huerter. Levert at 167 I like. And then Blunty. James Wiseman goes with 168. So let's look at my squad. At number 1, pick 8, we went Harden. Then Paul George, Ja Morant, Chris Middleton, Jalen Green, Christian Wood, Paolo Banchero, Al Horford, Monty Morris, Josh Hart, Jordan Clarkson, Markelle Fultz, JaVale McGee, and Jalen Williams. And that is the 8th pick. Mock draft done. Don't forget to follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on Odyssey. If you're on YouTube, thumb it up. And you leave those comments down below, guys. We are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.